Yes. Hello, my name is Timo, and today I'm going to share a guide of how to use a mini proposal process. This is something which is created with the community. Every now and then I get together with community members in after town hall or swarm sessions or privately to refine somebody's proposal. And through this feedback, I have created my report, which is like open source. I can share the link later, where you have chapters of questions. And if you are able to answer all of these questions, you can have quite core, like fundamental things you would need for a proposal, and for proposal for the Cardano project Catalyst. So far, I have created Fund 5 and Fund 6 proposals, and 3 of them in Fund 5, and all of them got over 5-star rating from community advisors. So it shows that it was understandable what goes into the proposal through discussions, and in both Fund 5 and in Fund 6, I added 2 proposals where one of them did, like 3 proposals, but one of them did not get funded. So out of 6 proposals through this method, 5 of them has been funded, but all of them are over 5 ratings. So it shows a good start that this might be something helpful to others. And today joins Owuzu with me on a problem statement, what we also try to refine and go through these chapters. We start with problem statement, then we move to the solution, and then we go to the title. If we have more time, we might as well continue even further. So we started with the problem statement. People are not aware of the actions what cause the problems. And this comes for like legal fishing. Okay, wait a second. I think this is not the problem. This is people not being aware of effects, options, and how the current situation is not sustainable. So this is one more thing. I'm going to share the link so everybody can follow along and add also some notes if they want. And this is quite related to somewhere where in the African villages there was an issue that there are illegal fishing going on and water is running out, land is being wasted and not used well, and this is because they are driven for more like current needs and they don't have maybe resources or time to think far more steps like in the future to see that this has an economical bad effect for us, and they're forced in a situation where they need to use more than they can have, and this is where we try to like elaborate. Could we make this problem statement even more understandable, or like see the root cause of that? So I devised more like even fundamental question, like why is it the problem that people are not being aware of effects, options, and how the current situation is not sustainable? So if there is like some kind of questions more, what is arising, because I skipped a whole lot of context, maybe Owuzu can share more light, or if somebody has like the high-level understanding what I'm asking here, has some kind of ideas, what could be the things?
Yeah, just a quick one and maybe a clarification. When I think you said somewhere that people not being aware of the effects of options of how the current situation is not sustainable. I think it's not a question of not being aware. People may be aware, but they are forced by the circumstances their economic circumstances to do what they do. So it's not necessarily they are not aware of their actions, they are, but they are forced by their economic circumstances, driven by poverty, to do what they do because they want to live. So I think that is what it is. So it's not necessarily they are not aware, they are, because if somebody is farming around a lake and there's a buffer zone rule that they shouldn't farm and they still go to farm, it's not like they're not aware that they shouldn't, they are aware, just that because of their economic circumstances, they decide to do what they do. So I think that clarification must be made. Yeah, I don't know whether you understand what I'm saying.
I completely agree with you, Professor Owuzu. I think it's definitely an issue if people have no better options. It's like this is the best option for them is to do this, or else they don't know what to eat. They have to do what they have to do to eat. But if maybe we provide more education, better knowledge of maybe alternatives, then
exactly.
They have another way to do it.
I'm not that fast to write it out, but in this current situation where we are leading to is there would be now a question, why is it the problem that people don't have the options or educations to have like a more sustainable life?
Because they can't make informed decisions, and I guess they are vulnerable to marketing as well. I mean, if humans are intrinsically good, if they have the information in front of them, 9 out of 10 times they'll make the good decision if the conditions are right that they're in. But if they don't have that information and someone's marketing like choose this product over this product because of X, Y, and Z, and it's not actually truthful, they'll do it just because they don't know any better. So I guess there's a vulnerability there to like other people exploiting that lack of understanding. I don't know how you'd crystallize that into a few words though.
The other thing is that, the natural resources in an area like that have competing demands. Okay, so for development and other things. So if you pick the case I spoke about, you have a natural lake, very beautiful scenery, and you have villages around the lake. The lands around the lake are fertile, so they think they should produce cocoa, they produce plantain and other things. At the same time, you have people who are looking at the ecotourism potential of the site, and they not understanding what exactly the ecotourism is supposed to be, are rather doing mass tourism, which compromises the sustainability of the lake itself, the existence of the lake. So I see it as like, because there are competing demands, people are forced under the circumstances to make the best out of what is available. I don't want to say that they're greedy, but they want to maximize profit. So recently, there was something that happened where somebody who claimed ownership of some of the lands around the lake decided to sell some lands to some estate agents, and they started clearing the land. And it took the king of Ashanti, where the lake is based, to come in and said, no, I'm putting a stop, because if you know the land tenure system in Ghana, it's more like the king holds it in in trust for the people. So when he says no, it's no. So he stopped the development. So currently, as I speak, that area is more like it has attracted a lot of interest, to the extent that now the area has been designated as a biosphere reserve. That is it. So even though it's a biosphere reserve, we have people also looking for economic opportunities. And therefore, it's not making the place sustainable in terms of how it's supposed to be. So that is the bigger picture. That's the bigger picture. So maybe this will shape our thinking. This is applicable to any other natural resource area, but for this particular site that I brought up, this is the bigger picture, where the area has been designated as a biosphere reserve, and people live around it, they need to leave. So if they need to leave, they have to have economic opportunities. And how do they do that and not compromising on environmental sustainability? So how do they live sustainably to ensure that there's a balance between economic opportunities and environmental consciousness or environmental quality? So that is the picture.
Yeah, I really like that point, like about more living in harmony. So it's like not nature or humanity, you know, like this land can be shared by nature and humans. It's like
Sure.
not because we're gonna have nature here now, all the humans need to leave. Who's gonna look after the nature? Like there needs to be, a relationship between and even the individuals. So if there's a fisherman and then there's a farmer, they need to have like a relationship, because maybe one thing affects the other and they don't know about that, but they need to live, you know, in the same land. So we need to share it in that sense.
Okay. So right now we do have like two distinct things we are having here. In this mini proposal process, one of the key things is that I want to scope it down as small as possible. It doesn't mean that you cannot go with your ideas in to the project catalyst with like one thing, but here, like, I feel like there are two things what could be two different proposals here. One is like educating these people to see like the next level, how to improve, how to apply improvements to these different problems they have. And another option is to actually give some specific output, like, okay, to this, like this current, okay, we only gonna work on the, let's say what we had here in the starting, only on illegal fishing, on a specific area, or only like the water sustainability, or only working on, okay, how to grow your land in a way that you don't like lose the minerals from that. So you have to know that, oh, you have to like plant trees, like, or not trees, but these plants, like carrots 1 year, then you can only do it for 2 years, and then you have to do these beans, and then you get, but you don't collect the beans, but you let them dry, and then you can do the carrots again, or like stuff like that. I'm not 100% sure how it works. Never done it myself, but there is a science behind it, how to keep the minerals in the ground for almost forever. So actually I could do a voting, but since none of you are on the mirror board, I can do it. What do you like? Let's try it with the hand raising. Who would be interested to pursue the education, or like overall education, to how to make these like different areas more sustainable, or who is interested to give us specific option or a solution to specific village or something, like a use case or story, or maybe actually Owuzu might take a lead here and say what he thinks is the best approach, because even if you choose the option, you still have some kind of education for that particular area.
Yes, I mean, when you look at the original thinking of this proposal, we were looking at education as one of the components of its implementation, in addition to providing alternative livelihood options that would not compromise environmental quality. These were the things we're looking at. How do we create economic opportunities for people? So these are the key things. We take cognizance of the fact that this is an agro-based area. is an agricultural area. So their livelihood support is hinged on agriculture. So based on what they have, what are the possible opportunities that can be added to enhance what they do already and do it well? And you see, education will come and cut across, irrespective of which option you choose, it cuts across all the options. So people will be doing this and then be thinking that, yes, at the end of the day, based on what we know about environmental sustainability, this is the way to go. Best practices that will not compromise environmental quality. So that's the way the whole thing was thought through. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, you did say that. How would you get into like growing or like inspiring the community to understand how to move, what are the best practices, how to behave? But if you would choose a village and a problem, like specific problem, which one you would start from? Or is it agricultural? Is there like the...
Let me give you an example. For instance, you have a situation where around the lake, most of the villages around the lake have planted, they've gone into cultivation of plantain. Okay. Meanwhile, the district assembly has made it clear that a buffer zone of 50 meters, nobody should plant anything. Now, the reason they are planting this plantain in that buffer zone is the fact that they believe that the soil within the buffer zone is more fertile. So here, my thing is that, well, it means that people are not managing the lands they have already. They don't manage it well, okay? So they are believing that the closer they get to the lake, the better they get yield. Whereas they could have managed their areas out, which are farther away from the lake to give them proper yield, okay? So in that case, how do you ensure that people, in fact, when you are planting, when you go into plantain cultivation, you need more water. That is what it means. So how do you get them to understand the science behind what you're doing, the activities, and how they can do other things that will make them get the same kind of income they're looking for? So that is how we're looking at it. So I don't know whether I've answered your question, but in terms of interventions, these are some of the things we're looking at. Yes, people will plant trees to stop erosion towards the lake. It's an activity by itself. But people will need to also stop cultivating very close to the lake. Now, I was going to show you pictures of the lake and the mountain areas around it. And then you see that it is easy for erosion for the mountaintop to wash down towards the lake. How do we ensure that illegal logging on the mountain tops, that's another intervention. How do you ensure illegal logging on the mountain tops will stop? And when that stops, it means erosion is also going to stop. And when erosion stops, siltation will stop. Okay, so these are the linkages. These are activities that we are planning, that we're going to put in there to ensure that you save the lake from shrinking. Fish stock will not reduce as it is doing now. And then you have water quality also ensured.
Just because I am slowly. What about the fish thing? How do we want to increase the fish amount or we want to reduce it?
Yes, so of course we want to increase fish in the lake because that is their source of protein anyway, local people there. But then one of the activities that is also endangering fish resources is illegal use of chemicals. So how do you ensure that also stops? That's another thing that must be looked at.
All right, that was quite nice. What I would suggest here is to what you just shared, take this like how to around this lake, just like a big specific few lakes, but like the proposal goal is to do these 3 things to the selected lake. So you're not being like, there is a lake in the world, we need to do these things, and this is how would you do it, but have like a actual use case, specific area, specific people, and the proposal itself is like a list of things to do. We need to create awareness, we need documents, we need slideshows, we need people who host, we need people who goes there in the spot, goes to meet these people and have one-to-one conversation, what this will change, how much it would cost, but this would mean that you do the research, how much it will cost, you will have, and so you get it where I'm going. So this is going to be a actual like a proposal where you take action. So you have to like create documents, create slideshows, get people, coordinate people, and from if you like list all of these things, then it would be, I think, a nice mini proposal, and you can put the correct budget on that, and then the community can decide, oh, that's a plan. This is
sure.
But yeah, now back to so now we know what we are actually doing. So maybe the problem statement should also be more specific and include some kind of like the lake itself. Where do we could start?
If I may ask, is it possible to share one of some a PowerPoint, something I had, so that maybe it gives a clearer picture?
Can you link the PowerPoint in the chat?
I don't know how to do that, but if I cannot share it on the screen, that's fine. But
okay, you can share. You just have to. I think you have a share screen option on below.
Yes, so I'll share it briefly so that you see what maybe that will give you a better understanding.
Okay.
Host disabled. No, I cannot share because it says the host disabled participant screen sharing.
Then we need a host here because I'm not the host.
So please, in order not to waste time, let's go on so that you don't waste all your time.
Screen share. But yeah, we are still at the point where we need to check. I think it is valuable to change problem statement to include what, like the actual thing, what we're doing. So yes, we do are like reducing the opportunity to exploit. But maybe we would want to say that iron lakes are being exploited I don't know, for profit. I don't think that would be one thing, but I don't think it would be the best. So
maybe you're referring to like a misuse of the lake or misuse of natural resources from the lake, something like that. I don't know if I'm seeing it correctly. Or exploitation.
Yeah, that was also good. And are not.
You could say competing forces are creating problems in the lake ecosystem.
Yeah.
Competing problems?
Competing forces are creating problems in the lake ecosystem.
Yeah.
How to solve this?
Yeah, or competing demands.
Yeah, competing demands. Yeah.
Okay. I think that is a good pick. In terms of saving time, what usually mini proposal would help is that if you ask again, why is it the problem that competing demands are creating problems in lake ecosystem? But in this case, I would already know we could already choose one of previous answer, but then we get the full loop, and that what shows you visually an effect that, oh, this is the like a loop of ecosystem in a sense, like a problem, and now you based on where you like destroy the loop, you select your scope of the proposal. I think this is already a problem statement. Creating problem system. You can use it here. And we can move to solutions. So can we quickly brainstorm few solutions of how would we stop how would we like have the effect that we improving the lake ecosystem?
I would like to go back to the point about influence and who has the power. I don't know how to fit that in, but the idea of creating educational resources or inputs about the differing demands, right? The competing forces or demands. But who is in the end going to be able to affect change, you know? And earlier you said something about the king. The word is law, right? So I don't know, but it's very interesting to think about that. Where's the power, you know, to make the change or to have the influence? And it would make sense in a way to target resources or, you know, the problem, the solutions anyway, to saying, okay, we want to affect change. So these are the things we can do to target the power structure that can affect change.
I guess here is also not just influence the power structure, but educate to influence. So we want the people to know who to contact to when you need something changed in your local environment. Okay, that's more like.
Then of course you can attach that great acronym KPIs, you know, or whatever. How do you monitor or evaluate the success, you know, of the solutions to some of those? But that comes later, right?
Mm-hmm. This process, yeah. But like now it depends what because there are like meta level we are here where we are providing a solution. So one of the solutions might be that we also want to educate how to monitor these things. So everybody has like a template or playbook to go to these influencers and these competing people that, hey, if you try to like stay on these KPI measures, then there is high chance that these KPIs will increase and will in return make you this profit, or in this economic will make this kind of profit, I know, or intention. And it's unrelated to KPIs of this proposal, because if that would be a like a solution, then the KPI of that proposal would be, okay, if we go to like, are these, I don't know, KPIs even working? So you measure like how accurate are the hypotheses when the proposal was created compared to this. And then another KPI would be what feedback gave the influencers to people who came to them with these templates of KPIs, what to measure, and rate it like how fair it was, 1 to 5, and that could also be used as a KPI for this proposal. So yeah, currently we are talking about solutions we want to provide, and the KPI section, what comes later, is only about the proposal. Okay. One thing I would add is what I kind of said before, that creating like these events were just spreading awareness.
Maybe just to add to the first one you done there, Tivo, is the how to educate how to monitor ecological impact or the environmental impact, so how it benefits the environment as well. So not just I'm saying like yeah, maybe like yeah, another one. They kind of go together, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, these are all around here. These were some solutions before, but I think these are now out of scope compared to what we had before. What Owuzu had in his mind when, let's say, you're going to get 50,000, what is the first solution? What pops up in your mind you think you should provide?
Well, actually, if you have 50,000, the only thing you can start with immediately will be education. Yeah, so that you kind of get people to, even though they may be aware, you want to rekindle the kind of awareness they have already, and also get them to be more proactive on the kind of decisions they take. So that's the thing you will start with first before you come to any other interventions.
And we've so far brainstormed 4 different educational things. What do you think would you pick first if you would have to take a day off and select one paper you have to like define?
Please come again. I didn't get you.
So when you would start with education,
yes,
which of these 4 things we discussed before would you start with? Either like what kind of like curriculum, or like what kind of slide deck or informational palette you would create, either, and to solve later, either educate how to monitor the environmental impact, educate people to influence the power structure, who can affect the change, creating education program of showing what are the competing entities, or educating how to monitor economic impact.
go for creating the education for competing needs so that people prioritize the activities. Because when they prioritize, then we look at which ones are more impactful on the environment and what can be done to ensure that when you are practicing those economic options, you are not impacting negatively on the environment or on where you live.
Right. And now going forward, we want to make sure the solution answers the problem statement. So give 3 reasons why the solution is solving a selected problem statement. So we now again have to do some why analysis. Like competing demands are creating problems in lake ecosystem. And if we solve it with creating education program of showing what are the competing entities, how would that solve the problem? Or why would that solve the problem?
But if people know based on their knowledge, know what to do, that will fetch them economic needs and at the same time have low impacts, then the competing demands will be more selective. So people will be more careful what they're doing. That's what I'm thinking. Because if I'm aware of the consequence of my actions on where I live, and at the same time, I know what the economic opportunities are and which of them will give me less negative impacts, and I'm able to practice it, then I will be making the right choice, or I'm inclined to make the right choice to do what I want to do to make me happy and not affecting where I live.
Yep, that's a nice one. About 2 more, at least 1 more, but sometimes 3 is a lot. I guess when you have more knowledge about who are the maybe the entities that themselves don't know what are they competing with, like they know what they're on their same silo, they know who are their competition, but they might not know if the other like silo, let's say there is a pharmaceutical company and there is some kind of chemical company who is only working on like agriculture something thing. They might not know each other because they are working in different areas and they don't affect their revenues. But now if they both work at the same place and cause these kinds of environmental effects with their chemicals or like their transport or trucks or the roads they use, then they might be able to like find each other and collaborate in a sense. Oh, we might need to make more sustainable road to make sure we don't break the land or to do some spillage here.
I was going to suggest introducing the word stakeholders, maybe, and in the idea of you could say educating the collective, right, about the different stakeholders and what those competing issues are that diminish the environment. You could, I mean, if you have a greater understanding in the community of the different needs of the different stakeholders, then you can start, you know, getting them to, I guess, collaborate in a, what some people might call a circular economy or something. I mean, because competing entities, yes, they're competing, but if you want them to collaborate, I guess I'm thinking how to incentivize, positive collaboration through education.
Yeah, I think in these ones, there almost always needs to be some selfish incentive, like some selfish reason to do whatever this thing is. Like if our goal is to collaborate, there needs to be some benefit to the individual to do that. Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you can talk about how, certain farming practices pollute water, like I've been living in Sweden for 18 years and, the agricultural practices there are destroying, the Baltic Sea, right? Or have destroyed it in a lot of ways, which completely disrupts ecosystems there. So, what do you do? Well, there's a lot of education going on about how you can change your farming practices, I guess, but big agri farms aren't really doing it. So, but I'm thinking about this site-specific place, how can you, if you can map out the needs of the stakeholders and the negative effects of certain practices, then, you could start making a Miro board even, about, okay, if we did this, that would affect this, that, you could sort of, and if you get that community talking about it, that's what I'm thinking. And the incentive is, of course, you're going to make your life better if, I mean, if you continue in certain practices, it's going to destroy the life of these people and yours ultimately by, depleting the water supply or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah. So you almost want to identify who all the stakeholders are. I guess find a common problem that exists for all of those stakeholders. One of those could be, for example, the quality of the water in the lake, because then that negatively affects all of them, and then come up with, communicate in that lens, so that if we solve this particular thing that we're all obviously concerned about, then there's something to gain for all of us, and then that's the reason to work collectively as well.
Yeah, that sounds very good.
That concluded that the solution did answer the problem we raised, and due to time, since Owuzu might have to go soon, I think we skipped one chapter where we create the title. I hope you and your family can think of the name, what this proposal could give. But if that is something useful and you still haven't put your proposal up, I would suggest to take this as a problem statement and this is a solution statement. And when you describe a small plan, what you can pick from there is these why reasons. And if you have this in your first week, currently this is the proposal submission week, it will give enough understanding of what is the problem you're solving, how do you solve it, why it matters, and from the previous slide there are these goals. You could also pick up and just give us insight where you are leading with your solution. So this is how you, because you kind of put your mirror board on the proposal. I was explaining what are the worthy things we came up here today. That would conclude for the 2 chapters today. Any feedback of how to improve the session, and was it helpful, or where were the mistakes when using this process? I guess I'll start with Owuzu again. Did this thinking, elaborating on a proposal help you? Did it get you closer, or?
Well, yes. I mean, it's more like breaking it down to what I would call chewable chunks. So whoever is reading your proposal understands where you are going to. So that's fine. Yes, it does. So going forward, what should be done? So like these posts you have there, how do you convert it into a proposal?
So do you have in a link? Can you access the link?
The link, okay.
So there is no automated tool as of yet, because,
Okay.
but so far what I have done is I have copy pasted. So when you open up Idea Scale, I can quickly show you like practically what to do. Hopefully you have Idea Scale account. Let me thinking. So when you submit the proposal, yeah, of course you have to choose a correct challenge. I think if you haven't thought of that yet, then I guess let me know in an emails and we should discuss it further there where it would fit best. Maybe somebody from here already knows where because I see some challenge team members here. Maybe they can, hey, join in.
Yeah, Afia and Mercy will help, I'm sure. We'll get you in the right challenge for sure. So how did this go? Did it work out okay?
Hopefully, solution did get quite sophisticated answers, so that was good. And we scoped down a problem statement, but not 100% is Owuzu agreeing with the scoped solution, or he wants a broader effect. But it does. We'll see over time. Right now, what I'm showing is that how to get that information from Mira to now to the Catalyst. And so when you submit the proposal, you select your campaign. Right now, I took a random. What we didn't do today was creating a title, but hopefully you have imagined enough to give yourself a meaningful title. And then the problem statement is the latest answer here. We only took it this far. I also copied it in here. Competing demands are creating. So you just copy paste it here. You can add a little more fluff to it but you know that you only have a limited amount of characters, 140. But don't make sure you don't change the meaning of the problem statement. And then the solution we came up down here, which was proved. Relevant experience. Here you basically give your own information, LinkedIn or something, a slight introduction to yourself. And then as a website GitHub, you can also post the same Miro board. I usually have done this. Some people look it as a visual thing and can follow that along and see that, oh, there has been thought process behind it. But if you have like some kind of landing page, you can also obviously use that. And in detail plan, I would perhaps bring these kinds of reasons in here. Yes, it will look like weird, so you have to do some kind of formatting to make it more like a story. But when you read it, that competitive electors are more selective to the opportunity they have to have less negative feedback, then this already gives you idea what this sticky note was about, and you can like make it more of a sentence.
Sure.
And finally, as a request for funds, you can put 0, and you have 2 more weeks and 2 days to change this and edit it. So we will get to the budget later on. You add your co-submitters if you have any. All the rest of stuff is just facts, basically.
Yeah, and we'll work on that as we go. The big deadline is tomorrow at 11 a.m. UTC, that we actually have to have a placeholder in Idea Scale. Fleshing out the proposal doesn't matter. The title can be changed. The problem statement can be changed. Everything can be edited except for this submitter. You know, you submit this, you put a title in, and we go from that. And if you want to do that, Professor Owuzu, we would really be honored to help you walk you through this. I know it's like this fire hose of information blasting at you. We're jumping you into this program that many of us have been struggling with for months and months. And, you know, we're here to help. I'm sorry, you know, our event starts in 3 minutes. I'm sorry about the mix up for the time. I think that was on me. And really happy that you actually made it. And this worked out somehow. TiVo's recording this, so the recording will be available as well to watch it again, because that seems like you probably covered a lot of information. And then anything that you're not feeling comfortable with, we're not going ahead with. We're going to make this work. So you don't have to feel like, you know, we're forcing you into any box.
Sure.
This has to be the right thing for you, or we don't move.
I kind of
The
forced
other
in the box, but that's
Yeah,
my style.
Yeah, the other thing we can do is this can also be withdrawn. It's very easy to do that. What we can't do is put it in after tomorrow. We can take it out, but we can't put it in. So that's the only tiny little bit of time constraint. Other than that, we're going to just keep going. Now I have one more big ask. If we could go back to the main room, all of us. Felix is going to rearrange our breakout rooms for the actual event. And Professor Owuzu, I believe that you have a meeting coming up at 4.
Yeah.
If you can join us for the event at any time, you've got the link and you can just pop in and check on us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you to Owuzu for
Yes.
taking a risk of some random dude showing his thoughts and process.
Yeah, we left you without mercy. Afia's here. I'm so glad that you're here as well. You're in a safe zone. TiVo is such a great guy. So I hope this has been a good experience for you.
Yes, yes, yes. Very good learning experience, and I appreciate. Thank you very much.
Okay, let's all head back to